Dear colleagues, good morning. Ukrainian Crisis Media Center is starting its working day. Now we are giving the floor to a spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Colonel Viktoria Kushnir. Good morning, dear audience. I'm glad to see you at our briefing this week in the ATO area. Mobile work groups started activities. They seek solutions to the problems in the military units which operate in the ATO area. The mobile groups are composed of the members of the Ministry of Defense and the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The teams inspect the service and daily life conditions of the military men and provide them urgent assistance in the matters which relate to financing, getting the status of combat action members, logistics support, and also explain legal issues, the findings of the inspections, as well as the solutions to the problems are reported by the mobile work groups directly to the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. This week, in the area of anti-terroristic operation, mobile work group headed by the Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine and European integration, Igor Dolgov, is in operation. The mobile work group is inspecting the service conditions of military men in the suburbs of Mariupol. The representatives of this group from the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine provided to the military men explanations to the issues of military pay reform, conditions of military service under contract, getting status of combat action participant, logistics support, etc. The issues which required further activities were registered by the officers of the mobile work group, and soon the military men will receive exhaustive answers to their questions. The representatives of mobile groups inspected the service and day-to-day life conditions, and they also inspected holding places of military equipment of the armed forces of Ukraine withdrawn far from the front line according to the Minsk agreement. Igor Dolgov, the deputy minister, awarded the military men state decorations and valuable gifts. The President of Ukraine, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, commended the volunteer centers for their high performance and for their activities on maintaining interaction with ATO vets in the regions of Ukraine. The President set the agenda to them to explain to demobilized ATO vets the conditions of entering military service under contracts in the armed forces of Ukraine, and accented that the lion's share of mobilized conscripts should be replaced with military men serving under contracts. The highest demand among military professions now is given to tankmen, artillerymen, anti-aircraft defense experts, drivers, as well as medicians and telecommunications and repairmen of various directions. We should know that from the start of this year, the number of military men who have expressed willingness to enter into a contract with the armed forces of Ukraine have increased by 6,000 persons. This is 20 times more than in December 2015. The incentives for entering the military service in the armed forces of Ukraine is the provided opportunity to get free of charge higher education, one-time compensation conditions to mobilize the military men if they sign contracts, and significant increase in the amounts of the military men. The residents from all regions of Ukraine now are expressing their willingness to serve under contract in the armed forces of Ukraine. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine continue activities on proper commemoration of the anti-terroristic operation heroes who died during the hostilities while defending the motherland. And so for bravery, heroism, and high professionalism in the course of combat activities, the state decorations were granted to 9,232 military men of the armed forces of Ukraine, including 1,669 persons were decorated post-mortem. Among them, 22 military men received the Golden Star of the Hero of Ukraine, including 2 of them post-mortem. 1,116 persons were granted an Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky. 3,439 persons were granted an Order for Bravery, 95 an Order of Danila Galitsky, 443 a medal for high performance and military service of Ukraine. 4,049 the medal to the defender of the motherland. 9,817 military men of the armed forces of Ukraine were decorated with the badges and valuable gifts of the Ministry of Defense and General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In particular, 639 military men of the 93rd Mechanized Brigade were decorated with the orders for defending the motherland. 51 military men were ordered with the Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, 237 by the Order for Bravery, 350 by the medals to the defender of Ukraine. 130 officers and soldiers were granted corporate decorations. So that's all for today. Now I'm giving the floor to Colonel Andriy Zadubinnyi. He will inform you about the recent developments in the ATO area in the hostilities. Good morning, Mr. Zadubinnyi. So far in the ATO area, the Russian-backed militants continue to violate ceasefire in Donbass. They fire on Ukrainian armed forces positions using all kinds of weapons, including 120mm mortars forbidden by the Minsk agreements. So on February 9th, the ATO strongholds came under fire of the enemy in the suburbs of Mariinka. Grenade launchers were used as well as small arms. Near Korlivka, the enemy opened fire from mortars and grenade launchers. The situation was not calm in the suburbs of Donetsk, where the occupants used grenade launchers and heavy machine guns to fire on Ukrainian positions in Piski, Opitny, and Avdiivka. In Mariupol sector, the militants intensified their actions near Talakivka and Shirokina. On February 10th, the situation was the most 10th in the suburbs of Donetsk and Gorlivka. Grenade launchers and heavy machine guns were used. The enemy fired on our positions in Piske, Opetna, Avdiivka and Butivka mines. 7 times the enemy used small arms and grenade launchers near Marienka. Near Gorlivka, the occupants used mortars, grenade launchers and heavy machine guns. Our strongholds in Troitsk and Novgorodsk came under fire of grenade launchers, and Ukrainian strongholds in Mayorsk and Zaitsevo came under fire of mortars of 82 and 120 millimeter caliber. The mortar shelling was delivered on 80 positions in Krasnogorivka, and on February 10th, 2016 at 7 o'clock in the morning in the territory uncontrolled by Ukrainian government, 600 meters far from the vehicle passing point Marienka, the civil motor car blown in this blast. 2 persons died, 1 person was wounded. To the site of this tragic event, the ambulance was called at 8:30. The ambulance took the wounded persons. One wounded died in the ambulance. In February 11th, the situation in the ATO area remained tense. The Russian-backed military formations did not stop firing on the strongholds of Ukrainian armed forces. They used mortars to fire on Ukrainian army position in Zaitsevo, Krasnogorivka and Piski. Besides that, the militants used anti-aircraft gun in Krasnogorivka. The militants used grenade launchers and heavy machine guns and fired on Ukrainian strongholds in Troitsk, Verkhnotoretsk, Mayorsk, Novgorodsk, Lugansk, Opetna and Butivka mine. 14 times they fired on the strongholds near Marienka. In Mariupol sector, the situation was not calm near Lebedinsky and Granitne, where grenade launchers and small arms were used by the militants. In general, during the period between 9th and 11th of February, the militants violated ceasefire 148 times. Despite numerous provocations from the side of Russian-backed militants, Ukrainian military men open fire in response only where there is the threat to life and health of civilians and military men. Ukrainian army strictly comply to the Minsk agreement. The ATO forces continued to comply with the agreements on settlement of conflict in Donbass, and the military men of the armed forces of Ukraine continued to provide assistance to civilians in those localities. The military men of the armed forces of Ukraine have been taking part in the project participation in the life of civilians. Officers of the coordination group of the ATO staff delivered to Kramatorsk new furniture, which was provided to the kindergarten Advanchik. In all sectors, civil-military cooperation teams have been conducting their activities. They provide civilians with all the things they need, starting with food and ending with medicines. And in the area of ATO, the combating with smuggling and other violations of the passing regime continues. in Verkhnatarensk checkpoint in Donetsk region, the bodyguards revealed fake certificates of registration of IDPs. Those citizens with fake certificates of registration of ADPs were detained and transferred for examination whether there was any facts of criminal offenses. In Svetlodarsk vehicle crossing point, when two VAZ lorries were checked, which tried to get the territory uncontrolled by Ukrainian government. The Ukrainian bodyguards revealed lots of food stuff which they tried to smuggle. The smuggled goods amounted to 145,000 hryvnias. Several days ago in Mariupol, the memorandum was signed in Mariupol by the leaders of Mariupol group and council and national police with restaurant business owners. The memorandum sets the ban on military men entrance to the restaurants. The ban concerns military men armed, so armed military men can't enter restaurants. They can enter restaurants when they are armed only upon approval by police forces and armed forces leaders. The question is how this memorandum concerns maintenance of public order in the ATO area. The ban for military men which are armed, they even can't have a cup of coffee in a restaurant or a cafe. I don't understand the nature of your question. Would you like to know my personal attitude to this ban? Or what do you mean? Well, if such memorandum has been signed, I don't understand. Are you interested in some public order related issues related to this ban? Yes, in Kiev there is a request from an MP, Andriy Zadubinnyi, who thinks such ban imposed on military men. He equalized this ban on the ban for entering cafes and restaurants with domestic animals and pets, such cats and dogs. So military men are equalized to dogs and men, dogs and cats with such a ban to enter into cafes and restaurants. Okay, I understand. So, as concern combating alcohol drinking, we have military order, military service police. As for me, I have been working for 25 years in the armed forces of Ukraine, and I am proud to be a military man. If the state called on us to defend the motherland, and if we wear this uniform, how can we insult someone with entering a restaurant being dressed in uniforms? I don't understand this ban. Thank you very much. We will see you next time on Tuesday next week, and our next press briefing at 11 o'clock today.